Have you ever wondered why so many people spend their whole lives trying to blend in, trying to walk the same path, trying to follow the same rules, only to end up feeling unfulfilled and invisible? Deep down, you already know the truth. You were not born to be a copy. You were not placed here to simply repeat what has already been done. Yet the world constantly whispers in your ear, telling you to stay quiet, to conform, to do what is safe. And because of that, countless dreams die before they even have the chance to live. But you don't have to let that happen to you. There is a voice inside you that refuses to be silenced. A small spark that knows you are different, that knows you were made for more. Every time you ignore it, every time you bury it under fear, you feel it pull at you. That pull is not an accident. It's your reminder that ordinary will never satisfy your soul. Ordinary may keep you comfortable, but it will never make you proud. Ordinary may keep you safe, but it will never give you meaning. You were designed to be different. Think about the people you admire most. Are they the ones who followed the crowd, who played it safe, who did what everyone else was doing? Or are they the ones who dared to stand out, who refused to blend in, who had the courage to choose their own path even when no one believed in them? History doesn't remember the followers. It remembers the dreamers, the rebels, the builders, the ones who embrace their uniqueness instead of hiding it. That same power exists within you right now. The reason you should keep listening is because this could be the exact moment your life changes. Not tomorrow, not next week, not someday. Right here, right now. Because once you decide to stop imitating others and start embracing your difference, everything shifts. You stop measuring your value by comparison. You stop wasting energy chasing approval that never satisfies. Instead, you begin to live from a place of courage, authenticity, and purpose. That feeling, living on your own terms, is freedom. And freedom is what your heart has been craving all along. Yes, being different will feel uncomfortable at first. Yes, people may not understand you. Some may laugh, some may doubt. But remember this, every great idea was once laughed at. Every great dream was once doubted. Every great person was once misunderstood. The discomfort you feel is not a sign to quit. It's proof that you are breaking free from the cage of conformity. That's what growth feels like. That's what transformation feels like. Stay with me because what we're about to explore together will show you how to step into that difference with courage, how to transform doubt into strength, and how to live a life so authentic, so unique, that you'll look back one day and say, I am proud I didn't blend in. I am proud I chose to be me. This is not just motivation. This is a call to rise, a call to act, a call to finally live the life only you can live. Because the world doesn't need another copy. The world needs you, different, bold, unstoppable. Most people live their lives trapped inside invisible walls built by other people's expectations. From the time you were young, you were told how to act, what to believe, what was possible for you, and what was not. Those voices became heavy chains wrapped around your potential, convincing you that stepping out of line would be dangerous. But the truth is, those chains were never real. They were illusions created by fear. And the moment you decide to break them, you begin to see just how limitless you really are. Think about how often you've held yourself back, not because you couldn't do something, but because you were worried about what others might think. You stayed silent when you had something to say. You walked away from opportunities because you didn't want to look foolish. You shrank yourself to fit into spaces that were never built for you. That hesitation has cost you pieces of your future. And if you continue to let fear of judgment guide you, it will cost you your entire life. But if you decide right now that your dreams matter more than other people's opinions, you will reclaim the power that has always been yours. There is no strength in being accepted by everyone. There is only strength in being true to yourself. Psychology shows us that people who live authentically, who align their actions with their inner values, experience deeper fulfillment, greater resilience, and stronger confidence. It is not conformity that builds peace of mind. It is authenticity. When you stop pretending, you free yourself from the exhausting game of pleasing others, and suddenly your energy is channeled into creating the life you truly desire. That is the energy that transforms ordinary existence into extraordinary impact. You are not here to live someone else's version of success. You are here to define success on your own terms. Maybe that means pursuing a dream career that others think is impossible. Maybe it means breaking cycles in your family, choosing a healthier path, or building something that doesn't exist yet. Whatever it looks like for you, The world may not understand it at first, and that's exactly why it matters. The most important changes in history always look strange, even foolish, before they became breakthroughs. But here's something most people never realize. The very things that make you different, the qualities you sometimes feel ashamed of, are the keys to your greatness, your unique perspective, your unusual ideas, your bold spirit. That is what the world needs. If you hide them, you rob not only yourself, but also everyone who could be inspired, moved, or transformed by your courage. The gift of being different is not just for you, it is for the people waiting to see someone like you lead the way. This is why you cannot afford to blend in any longer. Every day you live in silence, every day you play small is a day you lose to fear. But every day you choose authenticity, every day you embrace the courage to stand apart, is a day you win back your life. It doesn't matter how many times you've hid before. What matters is the choice you make right now. Stand tall, refuse to blend in. Let your difference become your strength, and let that strength become the light that others will follow. The world does not change when you conform. The world changes when you dare to be different. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite fear, despite doubt, despite the shaking voice inside that tells you to stop. The difference between those who rise and those who stay stuck is not talent, not luck, not even opportunity. It is the decision to act while afraid. Fear will always be there. Doubt will always whisper. But if you wait until you feel ready, you will wait for the rest of your life. Readiness is not something you find. It is something you create by stepping forward when everything in you wants to step back. Think about how many dreams died because someone listened to fear instead of faith. How many people went to their graves with their music still inside them, not because they weren't capable, but because they let fear control their choices. That is the tragedy of a life unlived. You do not have to let it be yours. The moment you decide to take action while afraid, you break the cycle that has held countless others captive. You become proof that fear does not have the final word. Your brain is wired to protect you, to keep you safe by avoiding risk. But what your brain calls risk, your soul calls growth. Psychology reveals that discomfort is the very signal that you are stretching beyond your current limits. That tension you feel when you take a bold step is not danger, it is expansion. And if you keep walking through that discomfort, your identity begins to shift. You no longer see yourself as weak, as small, as incapable. You begin to see yourself as powerful, as brave, as unstoppable. That is the transformation, waiting for you on the other side of fear. The world rewards those who dare. Opportunities open when you stop hiding. People respect those who stand firm in their difference. Doors that remain shut to the cautious swing wide for the bold. When you show courage, you attract possibility, you inspire others, and you create momentum that carries you further than you imagine. Fear may knock on your door, but when you answer it with courage, it loses its power. Remember this, fear is temporary, but regret is forever. The pain of rejection, the sting of failure, the discomfort of judgment, those fade with time, but the pain of wondering what could have been, the regret of knowing you never tried, that pain never leaves. Every courageous act you take is a gift to your future self, a promise that you will not look back one day and wish you had been braver. You have a choice every single day. You can shrink or you can rise. You can live for approval or you can live for purpose. You can let fear chain you or you can break it with one bold decision. No one else can make that choice for you. No one else can walk your path. The responsibility is yours, but so is the reward. The moment you choose courage, the moment you embrace the fear and step forward anyway, you begin to live the life you were born to live. And once you taste that kind of freedom, you will never go back to the prison of conformity again. The life you dream of will not come from imitation. It will come from alignment. Alignment means your thoughts, your actions, and your values move in the same direction. When you live in alignment, every choice you make pushes you closer to the person you are meant to become. But when you live out of alignment, when you betray your values to gain approval, you create inner conflict. That conflict shows up as anxiety, frustration, and emptiness. You cannot feel whole while pretending to be someone you are not. The truth is, the cost of fitting in is higher than the cost of standing out. Fitting in demands that you abandon your uniqueness. It requires you to silence your voice, to dim your light, to bury your potential. You pay for temporary acceptance with permanent regret. But standing out, while it may cost you comfort, reward you with integrity, pride, and freedom. You go to bed at night knowing you stayed true to yourself, and that peace is worth more than the approval of the entire world. Research shows that authenticity strengthens resilience. People who embrace who they are can endure challenges with greater strength because they are not wasting energy maintaining a mask. When you live authentically, you no longer carry the heavy weight of pretending. That energy is free to focus on building, creating, and growing. Instead of living exhausted by the performance of conformity, you live energized by the power of truth. That shift changes everything. Your confidence, your relationships, your opportunities, and your future. The temptation to conform will always be there because human beings are wired to seek belonging. But true belonging is not found by erasing yourself to fit in. True belonging is found when you show up as you are and are still embraced. And if others cannot accept your difference, then they are not your people. Your task is not to win everyone's approval. Your task is to find the spaces where your difference is celebrated, where your uniqueness becomes strength instead of weakness. Every step you take toward alignment feels like coming home to yourself. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop chasing achievements that mean nothing to your soul. You stop living on autopilot and begin living with intention. Each decision, each action, each moment becomes a declaration. This is who I am, and this is the life I choose to live. That kind of clarity gives you power. Because when you know who you are, no one can convince you to be less. The world will always try to shape you, but you are not clay for others to mold. You are fire, meant to burn with your own flame. And when you choose alignment over imitation, your fire grows brighter. Others will feel it. They will be drawn to it. They will be inspired by it. And some will even find the courage to light their own flame. Because of yours, that is the ripple effect of living authentically. It is not only your life that changes, it is the lives of everyone who sees your example. This is the power of alignment. It is the freedom of knowing that your steps are your own. It is the joy of finally becoming the person you were always meant to be. It is the strength of realizing you no longer need permission to live fully. And once you taste this alignment, you will never again settle for a life that does not belong to you. Greatness is never born in comfort. It is born in the tension between who you are now and who you know you can become. That space between the present and your potential is uncomfortable, and most people run from it. They distract themselves, they numb themselves, they settle for less because it feels easier than facing the weight of growth. But you are different. You are listening because you know that comfort will never give you the life you crave. The discomfort you feel is not punishment. It is proof you are alive, proof that you are being called higher. When you step into discomfort, your mind begins to rewire itself. Neuroscience shows that every time you push through fear, every time you challenge yourself, your brain forms new pathways. You literally expand your capacity. The things that once terrified you begin to feel normal. And suddenly, the impossible becomes possible. What seemed beyond your reach becomes your new standard. This is how transformation works, not in giant leaps, but in consistent steps into the unknown until the unknown becomes home. But here's the danger. If you avoid discomfort, if you always retreat to safety, your brain learns the opposite. It learns to shrink. It learns to associate opportunity with fear, risk with danger, and your world becomes smaller and smaller. You don't just miss out on chances. You train yourself to believe that you are incapable. That is how lives are wasted, not in one dramatic failure, but in thousands of small retreats from growth. You must decide which voice you will listen to. The voice of fear that says, stay where you are, it's safer, or the voice of courage that whispers, step forward, even if it shakes you. Fear will promise you safety, but safety is a cage. Courage will expose you to risk, but risk is the only path to freedom. You cannot have both. You must choose. Discomfort is the birthplace of resilience. It teaches you that pain is not the end but the beginning. Every time you survive discomfort, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than you thought. And that belief builds an unshakable confidence. Soon, challenges no longer intimidate you. Failures no longer define you. Criticism no longer paralyzes you. You realize that nothing outside of you has the power to break you because you have already faced the fire within. There will be moments when your steps feel heavy, when the temptation to quit whispers louder than the desire to continue. In those moments, remember this. Pain is temporary, but transformation is permanent. The struggle will pass, but the strength you build will remain. Every drop of sweat, every moment of doubt, every second of discomfort is shaping you into someone unrecognizable to the person you once were. And as someone, the stronger, braver, bolder version of you is waiting on the other side of discomfort. This is why you cannot settle for easy. Easy is the enemy of growth. Easy robs you of your edge, dulls your hunger, and keeps you ordinary. But you were not born for ordinary. You were born to stand out, to break limits, to rise. And the path to that destiny will never be comfortable. It will be demanding. It will stretch you, but it will also reveal you, the real you, the powerful you, the unstoppable you. The reason most people never experience their true potential is because they underestimate the power of small, consistent choices. They imagine transformation as a single breakthrough, one dramatic event that changes everything overnight. Well, the truth is, greatness is built in the quiet, ordinary moments where no one is watching. It is built when you choose discipline over comfort, purpose over distraction, courage over fear. Every decision you make is shaping you, carving you into the person you are becoming. And when those decisions align with who you truly want to be, the transformation becomes unstoppable. You cannot control the circumstances of life, but you can always control your response. That choice is your greatest weapon. Every time life pushes against you, you decide whether to shrink or rise. Every time fear whispers, you decide whether to listen or move forward. Every time doubt creeps in, you decide whether to give it power or starve it with action. Your choices create momentum, and momentum creates transformation. The person you will become is hidden in the decisions you make today. Psychology proves that repeated small actions rewire your brain. Habits are not just behaviors, they are identities in motion. When you consistently act with courage, you begin to see yourself as courageous. When you consistently honor your uniqueness, you begin to embody authenticity. When you consistently choose growth over ease, you begin to identify as someone unstoppable. Identity is not fixed, it is formed. And you have the power to form it every single day. This is why it is dangerous to wait for motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. Some days you will feel inspired, but other days you will feel tired, doubtful, or afraid. If you let feelings decide your future, you will remain stuck. What builds greatness is not waiting for motivation. It is building discipline. Discipline means you act on your values, not your moods. Discipline means you keep moving, even when fear tells you to stop. And over time, that discipline creates a momentum so strong that nothing can break it. Every great achiever you admire has one thing in common. They chose action over hesitation. They didn't wait for the perfect moment, they created it. They didn't wait until the fear was gone, they acted while trembling. They didn't wait for approval, they gave themselves permission. That is the mindset that builds legacies. Not luck, not talent, not even opportunity, but the relentless choice to act again and again until action itself becomes identity. Imagine the power of living each day with that kind of intention. You would stop doubting your worth because your actions would prove it to you. You would stop fearing failure because your consistency would teach you that setbacks are only stepping stones. You would stop craving validation because your discipline would give you confidence no one could take away. That is the power of daily choices. They are small, but they carry the weight of your destiny. Do not underestimate the compound effect of courage. One bold step today may feel insignificant, but string enough of them together and you will look back one day, unable to recognize the person you once were. That is transformation, not a single leap, but a series of deliberate steps that build a life of purpose, strength, and impact. And it all begins the moment you decide that your choices will no longer be dictated by fear or comfort, but by the vision of who you are determined to become. Every time you choose growth, you are rewriting the story of your life. You are proving to yourself that you are not limited by your past, your circumstances, or the labels others place on you. You are proving that change is not only possible, it is inevitable when you refuse to quit. The most powerful truth you can embrace is this: you are not fixed. You are not defined by who you were yesterday. You are constantly becoming, constantly evolving, constantly capable of more than you once believed. So many people live as though their identity is carved in stone. They convince themselves that because they failed once, they will always fail. Because they were overlooked once, they will always be overlooked. because they felt weak once, they will always be weak. But those beliefs are lies. They are illusions created by fear and repeated by habit. The reality is you are not bound to who you used to be. With every new choice, every new action, you are reshaping your future. Identity is fluid, and you hold the pen that writes it. When you understand this, excuses lose their power. You stop saying, that's just who I am, because you know that who you are is in motion. You stop saying, I can't change, because you know change is happening with or without your permission. The question is not whether you will change. The question is whether you will direct that change with intention or let life decide it for you. The most painful life is not the one that changes, but the one that changes without direction. Psychologists call this the growth mindset, the belief that your abilities, your intelligence, your resilience can be developed through effort and persistence. This mindset is the foundation of transformation because it shifts your focus from limitation to possibility. Instead of asking, can I do this? You ask, how can I grow into the person who can? That one shift transforms obstacles into opportunities, failures into lessons, and setbacks into stepping stones. When you begin to see yourself as a work in progress rather than a finished product, you give yourself permission to try, to fail, to learn, and to rise again. You no longer demand perfection on the first attempt. You embrace the process. You trust the journey. And that trust frees you from the paralysis of fear. You stop waiting to feel worthy, and you start building worth through your daily actions. Worth is not given, it is created. And every step forward, no matter how small, adds to it. The most liberating truth you will ever accept is that you are allowed to reinvent yourself. You are allowed to outgrow old versions of you. You are allowed to let go of identities that no longer serve you. You are allowed to choose strength after years of weakness, courage after years of fear, discipline after years of distraction. Reinvention is not betrayal, it is evolution. It is the highest form of self-respect to say, I am not who I used to be, and I will not apologize for growing. So let this sink deeply into your heart. You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are becoming. And the person you are becoming is shaped by the choices you make today. Refuse to let the past define you. Refuse to let fear limit you. Refuse to let doubt write your story. Take hold of the pen and write a future so bold, so powerful, that the old version of you could never have imagined it. The moment you stop seeing yourself as limited, you begin to recognize that every challenge in front of you is not a wall, but a doorway. Obstacles are not there to block you. They are there to shape you. They force you to dig deeper, to stretch beyond your current limits, to discover strength you didn't know you had. Without challenges, there is no growth. Without resistance, there is no progress. The weight that feels heavy today is the same weight that builds the muscle you will need for tomorrow. Most people run from struggle because they confuse difficulty with failure. But difficulty is not failure, it is preparation. Every obstacle is an invitation to rise. Every setback is a test of your resilience. Every closed door is a redirection to a better path. The people who achieve greatness are not the ones who never face resistance. They are the ones who refuse to let resistance stop them. They understood that struggle is the price of transformation, and they paid it willingly. Your mind is your greatest battlefield. When you face a challenge, the voice of fear will tell you it's impossible, that you should quit, that you are not enough. But those are lies designed to keep you where you are. The truth is you are capable of far more than you realize. Research shows that human beings consistently underestimate their own potential, giving up long before they reach their true limits. What feels like the end is often just the edge of your comfort zone. Push beyond it, and you'll discover strength that shocks you. The pain you feel in struggle is temporary, but the strength you gain is permanent. Every time you overcome, you add another layer to your resilience. You build a foundation so solid that no storm can shake it, and that strength becomes your confidence. You begin to walk differently, to think differently, to act differently because you know that no matter what comes, you can handle it. That unshakable belief is what separates those who rise from those who stay stuck. The choice is always yours. You can let obstacles break you, or you can let them build you. You can see them as reasons to stop or as reasons to push harder. You can believe the voice of fear, or you can trust the power within you. Every time you choose to rise, you strengthen your identity as someone who does not quit, And the more you choose that identity, the stronger it becomes. Until one day, quitting is no longer an option. It is not who you are. The challenges you face today are not random. They are perfectly designed to shape you into the person you need to become for the future you desire. They are not punishments. They are preparation. And if you can shift your perspective, if you can see struggle as a gift instead of a curse, you will no longer run from it. You will embrace it. You will meet it with courage, knowing it is the fire that forges greatness. So stand firm, face the resistance, embrace the weight. Let it shape you, let it refine you, let it build you into someone unstoppable. Because the very struggles that once made you question yourself will become the proof that you are always stronger than you believe. Strength alone is not enough. You must learn to direct it with clarity. Without clarity, even the strongest person will drift, wasting energy on paths that lead nowhere. Clarity is the compass that guides your actions, the vision that keeps you steady when distractions pull at you, the reminder of why you began when the journey feels long. Without it, you risk building a life that looks successful on the outside but feels empty on the inside. True power comes when your strength is aligned with a clear vision of who you want to become. Clarity begins with asking yourself the questions most people avoid. What do you truly want, not what others expect from you? What kind of life would make you proud when you look back decades from now? What values matter so deeply to you that you refuse to compromise them? These questions are uncomfortable, but they strip away the noise and reveal what matters most. And once you see that truth, you cannot ignore it. You either live aligned with it or you live in conflict with yourself. The human mind craves direction. When you lack clarity, you drift into comparison, measuring yourself against others, chasing goals that are not yours, and wondering why fulfillment never arrives. But when you gain clarity, comparison loses its grip. You no longer waste energy trying to be like someone else because you know exactly who you are and what path is yours. That self-assurance is magnetic. It gives you focus. It gives you peace. It gives you the courage to move differently from the crowd. Psychology shows that people with a strong sense of purpose experience greater resilience, higher motivation, and deeper satisfaction in life. Purpose is not just a nice idea. It is a psychological anchor that keeps you steady in storms. When you know your why, you can endure almost any how. Challenges that once felt unbearable become stepping stones because you see them as part of a greater mission. Clarity gives meaning to struggle and transforms pain into progress. But clarity is not discovered once and held forever. It is cultivated daily. It requires reflection, honesty, and the courage to realign when you drift. Each day, you must choose to return to your vision, to remind yourself of your values, to measure your actions against the life you are building. This discipline creates integrity between who you say you are and how you actually live. And that integrity is where confidence is born. Confidence is not telling yourself you can do anything. It is proving to yourself through consistent action that you will honor who you are. With clarity, distractions lose their power. Temporary pleasures no longer control you. The need for approval no longer consumes you. The fear of judgment no longer stops you. You begin to move with intention, every step directed, every action purposeful. And over time, this focus compounds, creating results so powerful they appear impossible to those who wander aimlessly. What they call luck is simply the fruit of clarity and consistency. So choose clarity. Choose to strip away the noise, silence the opinions, and see yourself with honesty. Choose to define your vision and walk boldly toward it. Because when your strength is guided by clarity, you become unstoppable. You are no longer pulled by fear or pushed by pressure. You are driven by vision. And a person with vision is a force no obstacle can contain. Clarity demands that you let go of everything that no longer serves the vision of who you want to become. You cannot build a bold, authentic life while carrying the weight of old habits, toxic environments, and limiting beliefs. The reason so many people feel stuck is not because they lack potential, but because they refuse to release what keeps them small. Growth is not just about adding more, it is about subtracting what holds you back. Letting go is not weakness. It is one of the most powerful acts of strength. It means choosing to detach from the need to please everyone, the need to control outcomes, the need to stay comfortable, It means facing the truth that some relationships, routines, and beliefs were only meant for an earlier version of you. They may have served a purpose once, but they cannot carry you into your future. To rise, you must release. Psychology shows that human beings hold tightly to the familiar, even when it causes pain, because the brain equates familiarity with safety. But safety is not always healthy. What feels safe may actually be the very thing limiting you. When you break free from what no longer serves you, your brain resists at first. It will whisper fears of loss. It will create doubt. It will try to pull you back into what is known. But if you endure that discomfort, a new space opens within you, a space where growth, peace, and freedom can finally enter. Letting go creates room for transformation. Imagine carrying a heavy bag everywhere you go, filled with regrets, fears, and outdated beliefs. Every step feels harder, every move slower, every dream heavier. The moment you drop that weight, you realize it was never the world holding you back. It was what you refused to release. Lightness brings clarity, freedom brings power, and suddenly you have the energy to chase what truly matters. Releasing what no longer serves you is an act of self-respect. It is declaring that your future is more important than your comfort. It is choosing growth over familiarity, progress over stagnation, truth over illusion. When you let go of the unnecessary, you gain the essential. You create space for the right people, the right opportunities, the right habits to enter your life. And these new alignments accelerate your transformation in ways that cling to the old never could. Yes, it will hurt to release. Yes, you may grieve what you walk away from. But pain is not proof you made the wrong choice. Pain is proof you are shedding the skin of who you were so that the person you are becoming can finally breathe. Just as muscles tear before they grow stronger, parts of you must break before you rise higher. That breaking is not the end. It is the beginning of becoming. So do not be afraid to release. Do not be afraid to let go of the weight that keeps you ordinary. Trust that what you release makes space for what you need. Trust that the loss you feel is only preparation for gain. And trust that every step you take without those chains is a step closer to the life you are meant to live. Freedom is not found in holding on. It is found in letting go. Freedom is only the beginning. Once you release what no longer serves you, you are left with a choice. What will you build in its place? Emptiness is not the goal. Purpose is. The space you create must be filled with intention, or the world will fill it for you with distractions, noise, and expectations. If you are not living by design, you are living by default. And default never leads to greatness. Purpose gives you the strength to endure what others cannot. It fuels you when motivation fades. It keeps you moving when the journey feels endless. Without purpose, effort feels heavy and meaningless. With purpose, effort feels like contribution, like service, like alignment with something greater than yourself. Human beings are wired to seek meaning. And when you connect your actions to a deeper why, you unlock energy and resilience you didn't know you had. Psychologists call this intrinsic motivation, the drive that comes from within, not from rewards or recognition. It is the most powerful form of motivation because it is tied to your identity and values. When you act from this place, you are no longer swayed by external approval or fear of judgment. You don't quit when applause fades because your reason for moving was never applause. It was purpose. That is the kind of drive that sustains you through storms. To live with purpose is to live differently. You no longer measure your days by how easy they were, but by how aligned they were. You no longer chase comfort, but impact. You no longer ask, what will people think? But instead, did I stay true to who I am? This shift changes everything. It turns ordinary work into contribution, ordinary challenges into growth, ordinary moments into legacy. But purpose is not something you find once. It is something you create daily. It is built through reflection, through choosing values over convenience, through aligning small actions with the larger vision of your life. Every day, you either drift farther from your purpose or move closer to it. There is no neutral ground. Your choices are writing your story in real time, and purpose ensures that story is worth reading. The danger is living without it. A life without purpose may feel busy, but will always feel empty. You can achieve, accumulate, and even impress others, but without meaning, it will never satisfy you. That emptiness is the quiet signal that you are meant for more. Do not silence it. Do not numb it. Listen to it. Because that longing is not weakness. It is your soul reminding you that you were born for something greater. Your difference becomes unstoppable when it is tied to purpose. Being different for the sake of ego fades quickly, but being different for the sake of impact creates legacy. Legacy is not built in a day, and it is not built by blending in. It is built by standing firmly in who you are, guided by purpose, and refusing to let the noise of the world distract you from the mission within you. So ask yourself not just what you want to achieve, but why it matters. Ask yourself who you will become in the process. Ask yourself what mark you want to leave long after you're gone. Because when your difference is rooted in purpose, you stop living as just another person passing through time. You become a force that time itself cannot erase. Purpose gives your life direction, but courage is what allows you to walk that path when it feels uncertain, lonely, or frightened. Without courage, even the clearest vision remains a dream. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that fear will not control you. It is standing tall even when your legs shake. It is moving forward even when doubt screams at you to stop. Every step you take in the face of fear is proof that you are stronger than the limitations that once held you captive. Fear is natural. It is your mind's attempt to protect you from the unknown. But fear is also deceptive because it exaggerates danger and minimizes possibility. It convinces you that staying where you are is safer than becoming who you could be. Yet the greatest risk you can ever take is not moving at all. Staying in place may feel secure in the short term, but over time it steals your potential, your joy, and your freedom. Courage is built through action, not through waiting. The more you act in the face of fear, the more your brain learns that you are capable, that you can survive discomfort, that you can thrive beyond the limits of your comfort zone. This rewires your belief system. What once felt impossible becomes manageable. What once seemed terrifying becomes exciting. You grow not by erasing fear, but by expanding your capacity to act alongside it. Psychology calls this exposure, the gradual process of facing what scares you until it loses its power. Every time you confront fear, you weaken its hold. Every time you push beyond your comfort zone, you prove to yourself that you are more than the lies of your doubt. This is how courage compounds. It begins small, but over time it builds into unstoppable momentum. Courage does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it is simply the quiet choice to try again after failure, to speak up when it would be easier to stay silent, to keep going when giving up feels tempting. These small acts of bravery shape your character, and character determines destiny. The world does not change through one grand gesture. It changes through millions of small, courageous acts sustained over time, and courage is contagious. When you dare to be bold, you give others permission to do the same. Your courage becomes a mirror in which others see their own potential reflected back at them. This is why leaders are remembered, not because they had no fear, but because they acted despite it, inspiring those around them to rise. Your courage could be the spark that ignites transformation in someone else's life. But most importantly, courage transforms the way you see yourself. Every courageous act rewrites your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who hides, someone who hesitates, someone who waits. You begin to see yourself as someone who moves, someone who dares, someone who builds. That identity becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You start living up to the image you've created, and that cycle of bravery carries you into places you once only dreamed about. Do not wait for the perfect moment to be brave. Do not wait until fear disappears, because it never truly does. The only way to build courage is to act now, exactly as you are, with all the uncertainty you feel. Each step forward is a declaration that you will not be ruled by fear, that you are committed to becoming different, and that you are willing to walk the path others avoid. And it is this choice, the choice to move with courage, that sets you apart and leads you toward the extraordinary. Courage lights the fire, but discipline keeps it burning. Anyone can act once when the moment feels inspiring, but true transformation requires consistency when the excitement fades. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. It is the choice to show up even when it's hard, even when no one is watching, even when your feelings scream for comfort instead of progress. Discipline is a quiet strength that builds empires and transforms lives. Your mind is wired to seek the path of least resistance. It craves ease, pleasure, and shortcuts. That is why most people quit when challenges arise. But discipline rewires that instinct. It teaches you that long-term fulfillment is worth more than short-term relief. Every time you choose effort over excuse, you strengthen your self-control. Neuroscience shows that discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The stronger it gets, the freer you become. Freedom is not doing whatever you feel like in the moment. Freedom is living in alignment with your vision, not your impulses. Without discipline, you are a slave to moods, temptations, and distractions. With discipline, you are the master of your future. You are no longer tossed around by circumstances or the opinions of others. You stand firm in the commitments you have made to yourself, and that integrity builds unshakable confidence. Discipline is not punishment. It is love in action. It is the love of your future self saying, I will not abandon you for comfort today. It is the love of your potential saying, I will fight for you even when it's inconvenient. It is the love of your dreams saying, I will prove that you matter more than laziness, doubt, or fear. When you understand discipline is love, it no longer feels like restriction. It feels like empowerment. And the truth is, discipline creates energy. While excuses drain you, discipline builds momentum. Each small act of self-control fuels the next. Waking up early leads to clarity. Eating with intention fuels focus. Finishing tasks builds pride, momentum grows, and suddenly the things that once felt impossible become normal. This compounding effect is how extraordinary lives are built, not in one leap, but in disciplined steps repeated every day. The most dangerous lie you can believe is that you will get serious tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. The only moment you can command is now. Discipline is not about making perfect choices. It's about making the right choice now and repeating it until it becomes who you are. Each time you honor your commitment, you are sculpting a stronger identity, one that cannot be shaken by temporary setbacks. What discipline really gives you is freedom from regret. Regret is the price you pay for giving in to ease. Pride is the reward you earn for staying committed to your path. Which one will you choose to carry? Both are heavy, but only one builds you. Only one leaves you stronger. Only one proves that you are different from the crowd. Do not underestimate the power of discipline. It will not always feel glamorous, but it will always move you closer to the life you were born to live. And when discipline becomes your daily companion, you stop waiting for motivation, you stop fearing failure, and you stop needing permission. You simply rise, act, and move forward. And in that relentless forward motion, you create a life that sets you apart from everyone who chose the easier path. Discipline shapes your actions, but resilience determines whether you rise again after life knocks you down. No matter how strong your vision is, no matter how bold your goals are, setbacks will come. You will face rejection, failure, and disappointment. Most people stop here. They let one defeat define them, and they choose to retreat into comfort. But resilience is the trait that separates those who only dream from those who truly live their difference. It is the refusal to quit when life tests your commitment. Resilience is built in the moments when giving up feels easier than pressing forward. It is built when you are exhausted but take one more step, when you are discouraged but still show up, when you fall and decide to rise again with more determination than before. Psychology calls this grit, the sustained passion and perseverance for long-term goals. Studies show that grit, more than talent or intelligence, is what predicts success. It is not about how gifted you are. It is about how unwilling you are to be broken. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. Every setback carries a lesson. Every obstacle carries growth. Every fall carries the chance to rise stronger. Resilient people don't see challenges as signals to stop. They see them as training grounds that prepare them for the future. This mindset shift is everything. It turns pain into power, loss into wisdom, and hardship into fuel. When you adopt this mindset, nothing can truly defeat you. Resilience also requires patience. Transformation takes time. The seeds you plant today will not bloom overnight. The habits you build will not show results instantly. Many people quit because they mistake delay for failure. But resilience knows that delay is part of the process. Just as a tree takes years to grow deep roots before reaching its full height, your foundation must be tested and strengthened before your true greatness emerges. Patience is not passive. It is active trust in the process combined with persistent effort. Resilience deepens your character. Every time you endure difficulty, you become tougher, wiser, and more capable of handling the storms ahead. Life is not easier for resilient people. They simply become stronger than the obstacles they face. And this strength inspires others. When people see you rise again and again, despite the hardships, they recognize a force in you that cannot be ignored. Your resilience becomes proof that it is possible to overcome. And your example becomes a beacon for others still fighting their own battles. The most powerful thing resilience gives you is freedom from fear of failure. Once you learn that failure does not end you, you stop being controlled by it. You realize that setbacks are only stepping stones and rejection is only redirection. You no longer hesitate to take risks, to pursue big dreams, to stand out from the crowd because you know that even if you fall, you will rise again. And every time you rise higher than before. This is why resilience is the heartbeat of transformation. It keeps you steady when the road is rough. It keeps you alive when others give up. And it keeps you moving toward a life that is truly different. Resilience means you are not defined by what happens to you, but by how you respond. And when you choose to respond with courage, strength, and persistence, nothing in this world can stop you from becoming who you were meant to be. Resilience prepares you to endure the storms, but focus ensures you do not get lost in the noise. In a world filled with distractions, temptations, and endless comparisons, your greatest battle is not always against external obstacles. It is against the pull of everything that tries to scatter your attention. Focus is the discipline of the mind, the ability to direct your energy toward what matters most and refuse to waste it on what does not. Without focus, even your courage and resilience will be diluted. With focus, every ounce of your effort compounds toward greatness. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Wherever it goes, your life follows. Yet most people give it away freely to trivial things, endless scrolling, empty conversations, meaningless distractions. They starve their dreams while feeding their weaknesses. Focus is the conscious choice to reverse this pattern. It is deciding that your time is too precious, your energy too sacred, your vision too important to be wasted. When you guard your focus, you protect your destiny. Psychologists call this selective attention, the brain's ability to filter out what is irrelevant and prioritize what is essential. The more you practice it, the sharper it becomes. This is why high performers seem unstoppable. They are not doing everything, they are doing the right things consistently. They understand that saying yes to what matters requires saying no to what doesn't. Focus is not about doing more, it is about doing less with greater intensity. Clarity fuels focus. If you are unclear about your values, your goals, your vision, the world will decide for you where your attention should go. Every notification, every demand, every opinion will pull you in a different direction. But when you are clear about who you are and what you are building, distractions lose their power. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. You no longer chase every noise, you move with precision. Focus also demands sacrifice. You cannot hold on to every opportunity, every relationship, every comfort, and expect to live a life of purpose. Focus requires you to choose, and choice always comes with loss. But that loss is not weakness, it is wisdom. You are trading what is less important for what is most important. And over time, those choices accumulate into a life that reflects your deepest priorities instead of the shallow demands of the world. The truth is, what you focus on expands. If you focus on problems, you magnify them. If you focus on fears, you strengthen them. But if you focus on growth, opportunities, and solutions, you train your mind to see possibility where others only see obstacles. Focus reshapes your perception, and perception shapes your reality. Guard it fiercely because it determines not only what you see, but also who you become. When you master focus, you stop scattering your power. You concentrate it like a beam of light so sharp it can cut through steel. That intensity is what creates breakthroughs. It is what allows you to accomplish in months what others cannot in years. And it is what sets you apart in a world addicted to distraction. Choose to focus, and you choose to live differently. You choose depth over noise, progress over busyness, and excellence over mediocrity. And in that choice, you declare to the world that your life will not be wasted on the trivial. It will be directed toward the extraordinary.